This morning, mystery in Southern California. 19-year-old Ivy League student Blaze Bernstein suddenly missing while home for winter break.
He left our house that night with no wallet, no money, no identification, no credit cards, no keys, no eyeglasses. This is someone that needs to wear eyeglasses.
It was late Tuesday night when police say Blaze was chatting with a friend on Snapchat, leaving his house without his parents knowing. The friend telling investigators they went to Borrego Park near Anaheim, but when the friend went to use the bathroom at around 11:30 p.m., Blaze had walked off.
Gather round, all you seekers of the night. Welcome to Patrick's Dark Corner.
Hey everyone. Today, we're diving into a case that's disturbing, heartbreaking, and honestly infuriating. It involves a young man full of promise and the kind of hate that hides in plain sight. Blaze Bernstein was born April 27, 1999. He grew up in Lake Forest, California. He had two brothers, Jay and Bo. If you ask anyone who knew him, they all say the same thing. Bright, funny, warm, and absolutely brilliant. He was known for his generosity and kindness, always there to support his friends.
I put it on last night. If I fit into it, you fit into it.
Yay!
No, I'm bigger than you. I know you are.
No, I'm the fireman and the hot dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Blaze's mom was Jean Pepper Bernstein, a former lawyer and writer. His dad was Gideon Bernstein, a wealth manager and philanthropist. He was a writer and a science nerd with a passion for cooking. Blaze was intellectually gifted, having read Steinbeck in the 5th grade. His mom, Jean, describes Blaze as someone who made everyone feel seen. He was curious, compassionate, and creative, always writing, always thinking. He had a close-knit family and lots of friends. He enjoyed exploring different cultures through family trips. Blaze was also Jewish and proud of it. His beloved grandparents were Holocaust survivors who escaped Nazi Germany as children. He attended the Orange County School of the Arts, OCSA, where he wrote this essay for Ink Block, the school literary magazine. It's called Picking the Lock.
It was a hot day in the middle of summer when my mom told me she had an older brother who died. She was crying in the car, and I had never seen her cry. I guess I was about 9 years old. It's hard to remember. She told me that her brother was gay and that he had died of AIDS, but that he was a hero. He was a doctor who treated people with AIDS, and he was a good man. When I was older, she told me that he helped lepers in India, which is probably more than I'll ever do. My mom had just read an article in the newspaper about a new treatment for HIV, something that could have saved her brother. He died the year I was born. There were so many things I didn't understand. I didn't know what it meant to be gay or what AIDS was or why people died from it, but I knew that it was a secret. Her brother was a secret. We never talked about him, and my grandparents, his parents, never mentioned his name. He was a ghost in our house, a ghost in my head. I didn't know his name for a few years. When my mom finally told me his name was Richard, I felt like I finally knew him. He was a person, a real person, and he was my uncle. He wasn't a ghost anymore. It took me a long time to understand why my grandparents didn't talk about him, why nobody did, but I think I know now. When I was in middle school, I found a box of his things. There were pictures of him in it and letters and a diary. I read his diary. I know it was an invasion of privacy, but I couldn't help it. I wanted to know him. I wanted to know what he was like. He was funny and smart, and he was a good writer. He wrote about his life, his work, his friends. He wrote about being gay. He wrote about how hard it was, how lonely he was, how he was afraid. But he was also brave. He was so brave. He wrote about how he had to hide who he was, how he had to pretend to be someone he wasn't. He wrote about how he wished he could just be himself. I was in 8th grade when I told my best friend that I was gay. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done. I was so scared of what he would think, of what everyone would think. But he was amazing. He didn't care. He was my best friend, and he loved me for who I was. It was the best feeling in the world. It's been a few years since then, and I've told more people. It's still scary sometimes, but it's getting easier. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm proud of who I am. I think about my uncle a lot. I think about how brave he was, how he helped so many people. I think about how he had to hide who he was, and how I don't have to. I can be myself. I can be free. I'm not a hero like my uncle was. I haven't saved any lives, but I'm alive. I'm a gay man, and I'm alive. And that's something.
After high school, Blaze started attending an Ivy League college, the University of Pennsylvania. He was on a pre-med track and intended to major in psychology. So it's January 2nd, 2018. Blaze is back home in Lake Forest. just hanging out like any college student on break. He cooked and had Hanukkah celebrations with his family. That night, he leaves his parents' house around 9:30 p.m. The next day, Mom Jean was at a dental appointment that Blaze was supposed to join her at. But Blaze never showed up. She tries calling him, but no answer. She starts to panic and calls his dad Gideon, who says Blaze never came home. They rushed home and found Blaze's wallet, retainers, keys, and glasses still in his room. The Bernsteins got into Blaze's Snapchat, where they saw he had texted his address to someone named Sam Woodward, a name unfamiliar to the Bernsteins. So Gideon texts Sam, "Please pick up," and Sam gets on the phone.
Hi, Sam. This is Blaze's dad. I was wondering, did you see him last night?
Yeah, we hung out for a bit. It was a spur-of-the-moment kind of thing. We were friends in high school.
Do you know where he is now? He never came home.
We went to Borrego Park. He said he wanted to walk around. I dropped him off there.
What time was that?
Around 10, I think. He just got out of the car and walked off. I shouted, "Blaze, Blaze!" But I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything.
Did he seem upset or say anything strange?
Not really. It was weird, but I didn't think much of it.
Okay, if you hear from him, please let us know.
Yeah, sure. I want to find Blaze as much as you do.
Blaze's parents reported him missing the next day. A massive search effort was launched, involving search and rescue teams, helicopters, and volunteers who distributed flyers. They searched Borrego Park, where Sam said he last saw Blaze. So let's talk about Borrego Park. It's in Lake Forest in Orange County, California, not far from where Blaze lived with his family. It's a quiet, well-maintained green space with walking trails, a playground, grassy areas, and picnic tables. The search also covered the Whiting Ranch Wilderness Park, a larger wilderness area right next to Borrego Park. Meanwhile, cops interview Samuel Woodward about the night Blaze went missing. Sam says pretty much the same thing he told Blaze's parents. He said Blaze reached out to him via Snapchat. Sam picked up Blaze from his house and they drove to Borrego Park because Blaze wanted to go there to meet up with another friend. Sam said they pulled into the parking lot and talked for a bit. Sam said Blaze complained about his grades and seemed depressed, but did not mention wanting to harm himself. Sam said that Blaze eventually got out of the car and walked off into the night, headed towards Whiting Ranch Wilderness Park. Blaze said he was going to meet another friend. Sam said he waited for an hour for Blaze to come back, sending him Snapchat messages asking where he was. He said he then left the park and went to his girlfriend's house. Sam made sure to tell police that he wasn't gay and that he thought being gay was disgusting. During questioning, cops noticed scratches on his hand. They also noticed Sam was careful not to touch anything at the police station. The next day, while cops were searching Borrego Park for Blaze, they saw Sam and interviewed him again. Cops said he was visibly nervous. He couldn't remember his girlfriend's last name. They noticed dirt under his fingernails. When word got around that Samuel Woodward was the last person to see him, Blaze's friend and Sam's classmate, Rhea Rofsky, said, "I immediately thought he's dead. He's dead." Sam went to high school with Blaze at the Orange County School of the Arts. There, Sam was known for being racist, homophobic, and sexist. He was a loner who seemed to hate everyone else. He drew guns and wrote slurs on his notebook. Despite Samuel's homophobia, there were rumors in high school that he might be closeted. There was one gay classmate who recalled Woodward once asked him what it was like to be gay and to come out. The student described the question as odd and emotionally distant, not cruel, but uncomfortable. Like Woodward was probing something he didn't understand or was struggling with internally. At the time Blaze went missing, Samuel was a college dropout working part-time at a construction company. Unlike Blaze, Sam was a truly unremarkable human being. Anyway, cops start surveillance on Sam. Meanwhile, the search for Blaze continued as his parents cling to hope.
He didn't tell us he was going out, tells us that he wasn't planning to be gone very long. And he also left behind wallet, ID, money, glasses, and medications he takes every day.
For the second time this week, volunteers with the Sheriff's Reserve Bureau headed out to search the Wilderness Park. 2 aerial searches using thermal imaging have found nothing. In a cruel twist of fate, his mom says the very day he disappeared, she'd talked to him about putting tracking on his phone.
He said, well, don't worry. You'll be able to always find me with Find My iPhone. The location services will be on. You'll be able to find it.
But they haven't been able to find it or him. And after 4 days, they seem to be grasping onto hope.
Maybe he's at somebody's house, and we just haven't, seen him come out of the house yet. We don't know, and that's not characteristic of him.
That's not my son.
It's not characteristic of him, but this whole thing isn't characteristic.
Do that. Never.
The search for Blaze Bernstein lasted 7 days, until his body was discovered on January 9th, 2018. Blaze's body was discovered in a shallow grave at Borrego Park, partially uncovered by rain. His damaged phone was buried nearby. He was stabbed more than 20 times, primarily in the face and neck area. Blaze had defensive wounds on his hands. He had tried to fight back. Obviously, Blaze wasn't killed in a burglary gone wrong. This killer was very angry, and as we'll soon find out, full of hate. Blaze's parents spoke out through their grief.
He really hit his stride. He had a brand new apartment. He was furnishing it. We have to go back there and we have to take all the boxes that are waiting there. He had ordered all kinds of things. We gave him an Amazon gift card for the holidays, and he was busy shopping online and having for those deliveries to be made. So that's really gut-wrenching for me. That just tears me apart. That there's a life that I have to deconstruct now.
Meanwhile, police searched Samuel Woodward's house and found a knife with his father's name etched on it. The knife was tested and had Blaze's blood on it. They also searched Sam's car and found blood stains belonging to Blaze all over it. While performing surveillance on Sam, cops saw him trying to clean his car.
As I just stated, the investigation is ongoing, but there are a few facts that we're able to release at this time. The suspect, Samuel Woodward, knew Blaze, the victim, from when they went to school at Orange County School of the Arts. Woodward is 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighs 185 pounds. Blaze was 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed 135 pounds. Woodward is accused of communicating with Blaze through Snapchat on January 2nd. Woodward is accused of picking up Blaze at his parents' home in Lake Forest after they spoke via social media. The exact time and place of the murder is still under investigation. He's accused of having abrasions, scratches, and dirt on his hands. He's also accused of cleaning up the car that he used the night that he picked up Blaze. Woodward is still accused of visiting the crime scene days after the murder.
So it was pretty obvious that Samuel Woodward had murdered Blaze. But why? That's where this case gets really disturbing. Detectives searched Samuel's iPhone and found hundreds of images related to the Atomwaffen Division. The Atomwaffen Division, AWD, is a small but extremely violent neo-Nazi group that emerged in the United States around 2015. Its name translates to atomic weapons in German, reflecting its members' obsession with apocalyptic, militant imagery and their belief that society should be destroyed and rebuilt as a white supremacist state. These freaks recruit young men online. They recruit on extremist message boards and they post propaganda videos.
New York, our Atomwaffen source, John, agreed to talk over video chat with me and my colleague Ollie Winston.
So Atomwaffen Division, so a Nazi extremist group seeking to spread terror. The main thing is lone wolf activity.
When you say lone wolf attacks, it sounds to me like you're talking about basically terrorist acts.
Yeah, they don't see themselves as terrorists, rather they see the United States as the ultimate terrorist. Like what Adolf Hitler said, how do you meet terrorism? You meet it with stronger terrorism. Atomwaffen is made up of about 60 guys, and then you have what is called initiates. That guys were in the process of becoming members, and in order to become a member, you have to prove yourself.
So how many initiates would you say there are?
Or were.
when I left, there was more initiates than there were members. That tells you anything. All it takes is one guy to snap in to do something like that. That's what Dylan Roof said. I'm tired of seeing nothing done in the white nationalist community, so I'm going to take a stand, and I'm going to go into church, and I'm going to kill all these black people, because no one else is doing anything. Who knows, there could be another Dylan Roof and Adam Waffen.
Since the Adam Waffen division is based online, they have chapters all over the world. There are chapters in most states, all over Europe and the Ukraine. These people hate all racial minorities, Jewish people, and LGBT people. Adam Waffen members are encouraged to train with weapons, explosives, and survival tactics in real-world hate camps.
Pump that shit open, point it at them, and pull the trigger. The only right they deserve is the right of lead. Hail Hitler.
A series of sinister online videos produced by the Adam Waffen division. The scenes include what the group calls hate camps, including firearms training. One recorded session occurred just outside the city of Concrete in Skagit County in an abandoned concrete plant called Devil's Tower.
The group is linked to at least 5 murders in the U.S., as well as plots to attack nuclear plants, power grids, and water systems. They've targeted journalists, activists, and minorities with harassment campaigns. And Samuel Woodward was an active member of this group at the time of Blaze's murder. But we'll come back to this group in a bit because Sam's hate didn't start with Adam Waffen. We talked about Sam's behavior in high school a bit earlier, but after Blaze's murder, more came out. In a graphic design class, students were asked to make a project. Sam proudly showed off a Confederate flag he had made. In a social media post, California native Sam defended the flag as a symbol of Southern pride, not racism. In another social media post, Sam said if he had to be stranded on a deserted island with only 2 items, he would choose the Bible and a Colt 45. He added that waterboarding was a new skill he wanted to learn. During a playwriting class, the students were supposed to read Raisin in the Sun. Sam's copy had the N-word written all over the book. There was that gay student I told you about earlier, who Sam asked about coming out. Well, this student was named Brian. Once Sam messaged Brian asking him to meet and hook up. Brian saw a photo of Sam hunting with his dad and got an overall bad vibe, so he declined. Brian stopped talking to Sam in sophomore year because he was uncomfortable. Brian shared the messages Sam had sent him with Blaze and other friends. After sophomore year, Sam left the Orange County School of the Arts and started attending Corona Del Mar High School. There, he became an Eagle Scout. Around this time, Sam started spending a lot more time online. On iFunny, Sam made friends with a teen fascist named Bill, who was the leader of a fascist group on iFunny. Sam talked about his hate for gay and Jewish people who he called slurs. He talked about making fun of his girlfriend for being a generic Trump supporter. He reblogged the curb stomping scene from the American History X movie. Blaze Bernstein may have written that essay about his uncle, but Sam wrote this masterpiece in his digital journal.
Explicit threat. All UFGs and fakers are going to pay for it. Get ready to die.
He talked about using Tinder to bait gay men.
I tell sodomites I'm bi-curious, which makes them want to convert me. Get them hooked by acting coy, maybe send them a pic or 2, beat around the bush and pretend to tell them that I like them, and then kabam, I either unfriend them or tell them they have been pranked. Ha ha.
He talked about sexual fantasies he had about his black teacher. It was when Sam met a user named Cruz that Sam was introduced to the Adam Waffen division. Cruz had Sam read the book Siege by James Mason.
James Mason, alive.
What are you doing? Are you stalking me?
And residing in Denver, Colorado.
You're a pretty prominent figure within the white supremacist movement, and I want to ask you some questions. I mean, the one question I do want to ask you is, do you feel any responsibility for the young people that have turned violent?
None at all.
You don't?
No.
That's reporter Jeremy Hohola from our sister station KUSA, outing perhaps America's most prominent living Nazi.
A lot of people take your words and they're acting violent based on your words.
If they were acting on my words, they wouldn't be doing the things they're doing, throwing their lives away.
A new generation of neo-Nazis, seen here training in Skagit County in Washington State, have been radicalized by Mason's writings and podcasts. The Atomwaffen Division is preparing for Mason's prophesized race war, and Mason admits there are limits to his claim of nonviolence.
I say, don't do it. But if you're going to do it, for God's sake, do it right.
So after you read this siege, you are what Atomwaffen members called siege-pilled. And by 2017, Sam had been fully siege-pilled. Around this time, Sam decided to tell his parents about his newfound white nationalism, but that didn't go over well. Afterwards, Sam posted about how angry he was at his parents, although he thought that if he could just chip at his dad bit by bit, he would come around to his white supremacist views. In summer of 2017, Sam moved out of his parents' house and started living with Cruz in Texas. The young men worked construction part-time and spent the rest of their time attending Atomwaffen training or hate camps. They got to meet their idol, James Mason, and both Cruz and Sam were starstruck. June of 2017 was also when Sam matched with Blaze on Tinder. Blaze instantly took a screenshot of the match and sent it to a friend with a message, "OMG, we all knew it, Brian was telling the truth for once, holy shit." By fall of 2017, Sam was back at his parents' house in Newport Beach. He enjoyed his construction job because he was spending time around real men being a real man. Cruz had also moved out to Southern California with plans to open a chapter of the Atomwaffen Division with Sam as his right-hand man. Sam wrote to his Atomwaffen members saying he was saving up to buy farm materials. To do this, he got a second job setting up bouncy houses for children. We mostly cater to rich boogie pricks. Before talking about how disgusted he was when he saw a white woman with interracial children at the party, Sam would also hit up gay men on Grindr. After a brief conversation, Sam would send them pictures of gay men being killed. Sam thought it was funny that the gay men got scared he was going to kill them. Sam wrote about this in his Diary of Hate. 2 weeks before Blaze's murder, Sam posted a picture of a bloody knife to Snapchat. The knife said, "Texting is boring, but murder isn't." Soral, about 24 hours before Blaze's murder, Sam was trying to reach out to his friend Cruz. Sam posted to the Atomwaffen message boards asking if anyone had seen Cruz. Later that day, Sam was on Tinder. He started to chat up another gay student he had known from Orange County School of the Arts. "Hey, that's a face I haven't seen in a while." The guy didn't respond. Sam told Blaze, "I'm on this app mostly in terms of women. I've got jungle fever. I've fucked like 5 black girls since I got on last month. In terms of men, I'm looking for an outdoorsy person to be a spotter and assist me with deer hunting." Blaze messaged a friend, "Oh shit, he's about to hit on me. He made me promise I wouldn't tell anyone, but I already texted everyone." At 11:36 the night of January 2nd, Blaze texts an old friend, Lily, from high school. "Oh my god, you won't believe what's going on. I've been talking to Sam Woodward, and now we're in the parking lot of a Hobby Lobby at the Foothill Ranch." 20 minutes later, Blaze's phone shuts down for good. So cops have enough to add a hate crime charge to Sam's murder charges.
Yeah, Susie, it's been 7 months since Blaze Bernstein was stabbed to death in this Lake Forest Park. And as you said today, for the very first time, the district attorney said his murder was a hate crime.
I always knew that something like this would probably happen.
Unsurprised by the DA's announcement that Samuel Woodward will be charged with a hate crime in addition to murder for the January stabbing of their son home from college. Blaze Bernstein's parents sat down with us tonight with their reaction.
It shows that we're making progress and that they are continuing to analyze data, and I like seeing that. I want to see closure.
The announcement of a new hate crime enhancement validated what the Bernsteins knew all along.
That it was a hate crime.
But it brings them little comfort to know that their son was killed because of his sexual orientation.
There's no relief knowing that your child died because there are hateful people in the world. No one should die because of who they are.
Hate crime expert Professor Brian Levitt says the hate crime enhancement does not mean the death penalty, but it does send a strong message.
The designation of the anti-gay enhancer does affect the case. It doesn't allow for the death penalty, but what it does allow for is life in prison without parole.
The district attorney referred to Woodward's ties to a neo-Nazi hate group, but he didn't charge Woodward in connection to it. As hard as it is, Blaze's parents don't want to focus on the hating, but on living in a way that would make Blaze proud.
If we can change one person's mind from being somebody who's a bigot to being somebody who can actually learn to love, which can happen.
As Blaze's family, friends, and community members grieved, Adam Waffen members celebrated. "I love this," one member said. "We're only going to inspire more copycat crimes in the name of AWD. A one-man gay Jew wrecking crew," said another member. Another member said what Sam did was stupid, not that Blaze didn't deserve to die, but his life wasn't worth life in prison. Even outside extremist corners, trolls mocked Blaze's death, splicing hate with humor. Blaze's death might have mattered to most people, but to these haters it was worth nothing. Meanwhile, the wheels of justice turned slowly as Sam's trial kept being delayed. His lawyers tried to argue mental illness and incompetency to stand trial. His lawyers said he was on the autism spectrum. Just as the case seemed ready to move forward, the pandemic shut down courts across California. Hearings and jury trials were repeatedly postponed, adding more than a year of delays. Then his defense spent years unsuccessfully trying to get rid of the hate crime charges. Finally, in April of 2024, the trial of Samuel Woodward began.
The trial began today for a Newport Beach man who allegedly killed a former high school classmate because he was gay and Jewish. It's taken 6 years for the murder of Blaze Bernstein to get to trial.
Fox 11's Haley Winslow live in Santa Ana with more. Haley.
There wasn't an empty seat in the courtroom as family, friends, the media, and attorneys packed the courtroom to hear these disturbing new details about this brutal murder 6 years ago of this Orange County teen who was killed by his classmate in high school at the Orange County School of the Arts.
28 total stab wounds.
With a drastic change of appearance, murder suspect Sam Woodward walks into court and is handcuffed to the chair, charged with killing classmate Blaze Bernstein 6 years ago. Prosecutors call it a hate crime.
The defendant is guilty of killing Blaze because he was gay.
In opening statements, Deputy District Attorney Jennifer Walker says Woodward, now 26, was heavily involved in the neo-Nazi terrorist network called Adam Waffen, even writing a test, she says, to ensure new members understand Siege.
And what was Siege? Well, it was their Bible, a book written by James Mason, who they revered, just like Hitler. And in that book, he talks about all the principles of Siege, which are getting rid of people that are not desirable, taking down the government, and being ready.
Prosecutors say his motive became clear and he was ready a couple weeks before Bernstein's brutal killing.
He snapped this photo of what appears to be a hand drawing on a napkin that says, "Text is boring, but murder isn't." And it has the knife dripping with blood and the skull. The defendant brought a folding knife, his Adam Waffen mask, a device to bury, a shovel, and a sleeping bag, and picked up Blaze Bernstein.
Defense attorney Kevin Morrison doesn't dispute the unlawful killing or that his client is the culprit, but he says context matters, and this trial will reveal the circumstances surrounding it.
The why is the single most important issue you will need to decide. The true reason we are here today. Not the hyperbolic, sensationalized narrative of Nazi kills gay Jew. Blaze Bernstein's sexual orientation had absolutely nothing to do with the reason he was killed.
Despite pleading not guilty and prosecutors saying he did everything in his power to hide this horrific stabbing, extensive evidence, including surveillance, DNA, and cell phone records, led investigators to Woodward's arrest and Bernstein's body buried in a shallow, muddy grave in a Lake Forest park near his home. Investigators had been searching for a week.
but there had been so much rain during this particular time period that it caused the earth to move and expose part of Blaze's body. The officer moved the tree branch with a stick and saw part of a hip. Blaze fought for his life as best he could with his defensive wounds.
If convicted, Woodward faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. It will, of course, take a unanimous decision. Reporting live here in Santa Ana, I'm Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
So, as you can see, Sam looked quite different than he used to. Many pointed out that he looked like Charles Manson. This is interesting because one of the leaders of Atomwaffen idolizes Manson and his attempts to start a race war. Prosecutors painted a chilling picture of an extremist ideology fueling a hate crime, citing Sam's Atomwaffen ties, hateful writings, and deliberate actions. Defense attorneys portrayed him as isolated, autistic, and fearful. A narrative built around confusion and a panicked moment. Defense attorneys portrayed him as isolated, autistic, and fearful. A narrative built around confusion and a panicked moment. Sam himself took the stand. Sam said that when he and Blaze got to Borrego Park, he smoked a joint and nodded off. Sam said that when he woke up, he felt a phone on his leg and saw Blaze taking intimate pictures of him. Blaze said he would release the pictures and out him to everyone. He said his family was very conservative and he feared his parents' reaction, especially his dad's. Sam claimed he had a pocket knife with him because he always had one on him for protection. He said as he stabbed Blaze, he felt anger like he had never had in his life. There was no picture ever found and no evidence to support Sam's story. The evidence against him was overwhelming.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Samuel Woodward, guilty of the crime of first-degree murder. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find it to be true that the defendant, Samuel Woodward, committed hate crime, first-degree murder. Your Honor.
Blaze's mom, Jean, can be heard saying, "Oh, thank God," as the verdict was read. She spoke outside the courthouse.
Knowing that this murderer will no longer be able to hurt any other people. This is a great relief that justice was served, and this despicable human who murdered our son will no longer be a threat to the public. We are grateful to the jury for their service and their long days and weeks that they spent in that service. Justice has been served. Thank you.
Samuel Woodward was sentenced to life in prison, no parole. Blaze Bernstein's legacy lives on. Do good for Blaze, aka Blaze It Forward movement, urging people to honor his memory through random acts of kindness.
Every time we do something good, we think of him, and we know that we are carrying on his legacy.
Thank you. Blaze Bernstein's parents chose to spend this Martin Luther King Day doing good for the community. The last MLK Day was their son's memorial service. 150 people joined Jeannie and Gideon Bernstein at the Second Harvest Food Bank in Irvine bagging apples.
I'm the executive tire.
And what is your secret?
Tie fast.
A movement was formed after the 19-year-old's death. It's known as Blaze It Forward. There was a room full giving back here today.
Because our son was buried last year on Martin Luther King Day. And we wanted to make this a tradition that we do something positive. We get smiles on other people's faces and help to make the world a better place.
Knowing today would be painful, the Bernsteins organized this day of service and put out the call. Every single slot was filled.
It's so incredible because so many people together creates so much more than just one person doing it, and it's so cool that so many people are willing to do that.
The Whites family from New York dedicated part of their vacation in Orange County to honoring Blaze Bernstein.
Instead of doing something like going to Disneyland or spending a day at the mall or going shopping in LA, we decided it was so important to just come here and come together as a family and as a community to just help out.
This Blaze It Forward Day of Service is going to directly help federal workers who are impacted by the shutdown. The apples and a lot of other food is being delivered to pantries throughout Orange County, where federal workers can go and get what they need.
At the University of Pennsylvania, the Blaze Bernstein Memorial Fund was born, funding creative internships in writing and food media, supporting students just as Blaze would have. At the site where Blaze was killed, supporters began placing painted stones with messages. Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of people. Angel wings, his name. The custom has Jewish roots. Stones signify remembrance. The garden continues growing, tended annually around his birthday. This brings us back to his essay, his words, his life, not forgotten, not in vain. Every kind act, every remembrance is blaze it forward in action. Thank you for watching. The story of Blaze Bernstein is a tragic one, but his spirit of kindness and creativity continues to inspire. In his memory, let's all try to make the world a little brighter. If you'd like to learn more about the Do Good for Blaze movement, please see the links in the description below. Let's honor Blaze's memory by choosing kindness and doing good in our own communities.
In the darkness, where secrets hide, there's a corner where the truth resides. Gather round, all you seekers of the night. Welcome to Patrick's Dark Corner, where things come to light. Patrick's